It's the Revved Up Sports Show with Bobby Chaffee.
We do have this nice little format that we try to follow every week. We don't usually follow it.
And Rodney Rodriguez.
Entertain me. Tell me something. I need to know something other than what I'm seeing.
Y'all ready? Here we go. Here's Bobby and Rodney.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard
We won't say it. We can. One day we will. I think we've said it before, so I guess it really matters.
What you got against garden tools, man?
Exactly. Maybe at some point, the next time that we have a technical flaw, that something goes wrong here on our little radio program, one thing that we can say is,
I think there's like a saying where you step on it. That's what I did. I stepped on it, so.
Yeah, that was
How did you go back and get that clip?
Highlight of the weekend, man. You hand me a 6-pack of beer, and I can do crazy things, man.
That was the best. I've never heard that many people just bust out laughing all at one time.
Yeah, that was awesome right there. That was Saturday Night World of Outlaws. If you missed it, just gone into the lead and rolls it, and totally on him, man. And I think that was so. I think that was so cool right there, where he's. We need more of that. I mean, that's part of that personality thing that we talk about.
Yeah, he was honest about it. That's what that's what happened. I mean, he went in the corner, popped the wall, and started flipping over. So
yeah, and he old 49 Brad Sweet. He's that was the guy that's going to beat him. But see, I was creative yesterday, so Brad Sweet saw that happen, and he said,
Not in my house.
You really were active yesterday.
Yeah, man.
That Atlanta race must not have been that exciting up here.
That race was horrible. So I said, let's go in there and let's find some sound bites here. So of course that's Matumbo from those.
We still need
Geico.
We still need David Carr from Vegas. That's the one we need.
Which one?
The David Carr command from Vegas.
Oh yeah. Raiders, boo.
Yeah, but it was a good command.
Just kidding.
That's the best command of the year so far was David Carr in Vegas.
Well, I'm glad the Raiders are good at something. Glad they're good at something. Almost as good as my Longhorns. God, man, brackets are busted. It's quite the mess. Quite the mess right now. This is truly a March Madness. This is the way it's supposed to be. I mean that's what this tournament's all about. I mean it's really good to see. I mean I'm just glad they're having it. But great program we have here. Coming up here in just a little bit, about 6:25, we're going to talk to the man, Lawrence Mikulicek, and what we're thinking we're going to do, because all of these tracks that have gone by the wayside. When we lost Kyle. Well, hell, I guess when we lost Kyle, we weren't even doing the show yet. But each one of the tracks that closes, we never really have an opportunity to pay homage to it as it's happening there, because it just happens. But CC's kind of going away slowly, and we want to talk to some of the folks that really had impacts there. I think it's a true fitting honor to the track where people can share their memories about it. I think the people that were really, really good there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's one of those things where the fate of Corpus Christi has been known for a while, right? Yeah. Even before officially it got sold, the fact that it just sat there and deteriorated for year after year after year with no sign of life in it, you knew that the eventual life of the racetrack was going to be limited. And then once I mean, we've known about it being sold for what, not quite a year.
Oh yeah,
I mean, roughly a year-ish, right in there.
And it gets so tough because and a lot of people were like, oh. Somebody called Dan, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to bother Dan with this. I mean, I know if I were in Dan's position, I wouldn't want you, me, or anybody else beating me up. Hey, when's it going to open? The bridge is almost done, or whatever was supposed to happen there. But it's one of those things where it was inevitable, and we've talked about where the land value got a lot better than what the racetrack was going to sustain. So it's one of those things, but we figure, we'll start with Lawrence and we'll get folks on here, have them on at various points and just kind of work this thing along. I mean, hell, at some point we can talk to Owen. Owen ran the place there for a while. Maybe get Slick back on, and maybe Terry. I mean, get these guys on here, the Carlucci's. I mean, I think it'd be really cool to kind of send this thing out. We're sad, but let's celebrate the good times that were there and let those people tell those stories.
Yeah, because definitely, as with any racetrack, there's generally more good times than bad times.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure, there's rivalries and everything else that happen at the racetrack, but there's always been more good times than bad times at every racetrack. Longhorn, Central Texas Speedway, Thunderhill, whatever you want to call it. Corpus is no different, so I think that it'd be cool to get the guys and even some gals in here that were instrumental in all the memories at CC Speedway.
Absolutely. And then at 7:15, we'll talk to Bobby McCarty. He wins just one hell of a late model stock car race there with the Cars Tour. He's won a couple of championships in the Cars Tour, and he's a good dude. He's one of those guys that he's just a racer. We'll talk to him as well in the second hour. But I really think, because we see all the Bristol dirt track stuff, Nick Stoop is the guy that I was, and I wasn't all too happy with our friends over at XR, maybe kind of poking fun at this dude in a true street stock. It's like, dude, this guy is living out a dream that, shit, man, I wish. I mean, and I don't care what kind of car I had. I mean, I don't care if it's the biggest, as we say, not that his is, because he's so this dude has run the same car for 25 years. 25 years.
That's that blue one, right?
It's the blue one, the X74, yeah. So he's run the same car for 25 years, and here he is at Bristol, and dude's just making laps. I mean, you got to know what he knew, that when he went there, he wasn't going to win, but hell, we're sitting here talking on this program. Now that's cool. Hell, the dude went out and raced at Bristol.
Yeah, I mean, well,
I don't care what he's driving. Yeah.
He's getting a lot of pub.
Yeah, he is.
He's definitely getting a lot of pub. He's getting more pub than what I thought he was going to get. It's definitely a hell of a lot more pub than what he would have got if he just kept his ass at home.
Absolutely. I mean, the guy went out. The guy has the balls to load up what he has and goes out there and just, he can say, there's not a lot of people that can say, I ran at Bristol in this current form of Bristol, with the great Coliseum, and this dude can, and it was. I mean, I wasn't all too keen with the kind of, obviously he's off the pace. I mean, come on, but no need to poke any fun at the dude, because he's doing something that a hell of a lot of us wish we could do, and that good for him, and I guarantee you, before too long, he's gonna have a new car. I bet you he'll have a new car now.
Maybe somebody probably step up and give him a ride. Think about the guys that we remember growing up. Around here, you had different guys that you knew they weren't going to run, but damn, they were there every single week.
Every time.
Every single week they were there.
And there was a similar story out at Waco. There's a guy, Cody Daniel, in the street stocks. I mean, the guy's been racing forever, raced the same car for over 20 years, and finally this year he's got a brand new car, Superman car, bright yellow car, Superman S76. Opening night, brand new car, parks in victory lane. So
I thought you were going to say brand new car, parked it on the tire and flipped it over and totaled it like Homeyer did that night.
No, that was this past weekend at Heart of Texas, and a lot of tracks, and what a great weekend for Cotton Bowl. And Bobby, my question for you is: so is this a situation? I can honestly tell you that I had to keep looking around, and I would purposely go outside when I wasn't on my shift there at CBS on Saturday night, just to see. Then I would go walk from the front of the aisle to find a reason. All of that massive humanity that was there. Should there have been that many people there? Well, yeah, we're open. Is this a situation where you can, like with NASCAR, where you bring a NASCAR series in, and hopefully that's going to trickle in? Is this World of Outlaws that finally happened? You finally had 2 good nights of racing there. Is this something that the track can really... What does the track do next to build off of that, to capture some of that? There were people, I talked to some people there that I know, they would never go there before. I promise you. What do they do now to get those people to come back on March 27th and all these other dates that are coming up?
Man, I don't know. I think that the difference is because of the fact that the World of Outlaws brought so many people that aren't locals to Cotton Bowl that I'm not sure that how you capture that market. The 2 local series races, the factory stock race on Friday night and that limited sport mod race on Saturday night, they were some of the best damn races that I've seen on dirt in a long time, at least from second on back for both nights. But I just don't know if there was enough. All the local people that were there, or I should say all of them, a high majority of the local people that were there are people that are always there.
Sure.
So you're not going to gain any new fans by having the same old local people. Mm-hmm. You may gain. I think what you gained is more casual fans. People that kind of come through there that live close but don't live super close, you might get some people in Houston.
Yeah.
That may trickle back in because they like the racing and like the facility. Will they be an every week kind of person? No, they won't be. But if 105 is not racing and there's a pretty decent car count there at Cotton Bowl for a good purse, yeah, they may come back in and kind of check it out that way. But I just don't see. Unfortunately, I don't know that the demographics of the crowd from where a lot of the people were coming from, if that's going to benefit the track in the long run. Props to Johnny Gibson though for actually talking about Cotton Bowl's next regular show coming up. I was kind of surprised he actually did that.
we were rushing. That's why when Owen came to me and said, "Hey, tell him," I'm like, "Let's let H do that." H is paying for all this, or H and Marianne are paying for all this. Let's let H do it. For me, he's probably going to say, "Shut up." No, nice dude. Nice dude, and he calls good races. Yes, thank you, Joyce. Christine also posting there. Prayers to the Parks family. We saw the loss there as well, and actually I learned today that the Cotton Bowl family had a loss as well, and I won't go into specifics about that, but just keep the Cotton Bowl staff in your prayers there, and we'll let that come out at whatever point when the time is right. But yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, because I sat there on Saturday and I got there super early just to kind of avoid all the mess, and that so there we have, and it's funny how you learn. I mean, we learned a couple of things. What we learned on Saturday is how hard with track prep and everything that happened. You had the full show on Friday, and H and Robert and those guys were having one hell of a time Saturday night because the World of Outlaws wanted the track worked up a certain way, and that's totally fine. They deserve that. But when you had the full show, and I think I said it a couple of different times where it kind of sucked on Saturday night that you didn't have, where you wanted to get more water on the track. You didn't have like a iStock or something where you get out there. You didn't
have a heavy car.
Yeah, you didn't have anything. When you roll out sport mods to kind of get your track ready, I'm like, well, I'm not sure that's going to absolutely help. I mean, it may hurt us in more ways than not. I mean, but anyway, but you live and learn. I think all told, I think that the staff there and particularly track prep with HE and them, they did a hell of a job because I did not hear a complaint one. Because even when the World Outlaws people were coming over, it wasn't a complaint. It was like, any way you can do this. I mean, so I think they hit this thing out of the ballpark, man.
The track on Friday night was one of the best prep tracks I've seen at Cotton Bowl in a long time. That track was fast. I mean, they set the all-time track record 13,351. I think it's either a 351 or a 353. Either way, almost had the guy that set that record on the show tonight. But he had to fly out. His mom called me, said he can't do it. Let us know another time. I was like, dang it, I wanted that today. But that's okay. Yeah, well,
we'll take him anytime.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll take him anytime. But I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
See, look, we already have a comment on Facebook. Went to CBS to see Woo first time. We'll definitely be back. Definitely go back.
That's
Galveston.
Great. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it's all about. And the thing is, you go back, and what I really thought was good that really helped the whole cause here was what you mentioned, Bobby, that factory stock race and the sport mod race were so good because that's irregular stuff. Yeah, you don't get to see Brad Sweet and all of these guys every week, but when you go out, because dirt can capture better than asphalt, honestly, in my opinion, to a new fan, because it has there's that whole swagger to it, to where they, even though some classes may not be as fast as what you see on asphalt, not talking about World of Outlaws, they just look so damn fast because, hell, quite candidly, they're not going straight. And that draws. I mean, that draws people that think drifting is cool. They will love dirt track racing.
I mean, I think that the racing was really good. Now, granted, the J.J. Jennings put a whooping on him in the sport mod race, but second on back when you have 6 cars that are literally separated by bumpers, from second on there, that racing was good. But as far as, I think that we've seen, and you've noticed it in Waco. Now, granted, Waco's a little different because they have more of a solid fan base than Cotton Bowl does.
Yeah.
But the sprint cars bring out the fans. Fans come to see sprint cars, no doubt about it, especially the World Outlaws.
No doubt. And I'm curious this weekend at Waco, because you got the DFW late model tour that's coming in, and I know that's a good following there as well. But even when the Boss Tour, the Bandit Outlaw Series was at Waco week before last, the place was packed. place was absolutely packed, and that's it's so funny that's what intrigues people. Where on the asphalt side, I guess it would be the super late model, and you and I had that discussion, with super late model versus World of Outlaws and sprint cars and all of that. I think that's the equivalent of one another. Where if you're a dirt fan, to you the sprint cars or the World of Outlaws or whatever, that's your kind of, I hate to say, hard on moment. Where with us, when we go to Pensacola and here comes pro late models are great. I love them, but man, you roll those supers out, and that's where you get those chills and
it's like
else.
The second they came out, it's like, man, these don't sound like ASCS cars.
Yeah.
And nothing against ASCS. ASCS races are damn good. I've seen plenty of damn good ASCS races. Hell, I've called a couple of ASCS races in the past. And so, some of those races are really good. When you had the old Gulf South that Jason Johnson's dad or his parents were running before they quit running it. But, there's something cool about a sprint car. It does take, whether you're running first or you're running last, there is something about a big set of balls it takes to run a sprint car at those speeds, despite the fact, see how little those dudes were?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Every one of them.
It's like a jockey, like a horse jockey.
Little dudes.
Yeah, like a horse jockey. That's really what you see there. And that's where we go back to that famous, here's a CC story for you. When I was in the pits at CC with my dwarf car, and I'm standing there, and Butch and I had the cars side by side. We need to get Butch on here, too. He can tell some stories. I'm standing there, and then this black dude comes walking up. This African-American guy comes walking up, and he looks and he goes, "Who drives that?" And I said, "I do." And he looked at me, looked at the car, looked at me again, looked at the car again. He goes, "How you get your fat ass in there?"
Carefully.
I said, "The door comes off, my man. The door comes off." But yeah, tiny guys. But just a great show. I'm glad they finally got it done. And Brad Sweet wins the Saturday one, so he's the winningest driver there at CBS. Hopefully they'll be back. And if crowd participation and input and all of that really counts, who's that walking into here? Man, that's all right.
We got Rodney's number one fan in the studio.
I don't know. Joyce is watching.
Oh, shit, that's right.
But yes, great show over the weekend, and 37 racing as well. We got all the results. We'll get to that just as soon as we can. But Derek Thorne wins at Kern County, the winter showdown. And
shocker.
I tell you, man, Derek Thorne, it's like he wins these races, and he's been so close in the big ones. Not that, that's a big one there. He wins his second one. Now he and Bubba Pollard have won a couple of those, but it's like, dude, he's going to break through maybe this year, win that damn snowball, because he's dominated those races.
He's dominated those races past. At some point, he's had the not Winston West, was it K&N Pro Series?
Yeah.
Now the Arca Menards East West Series. He's had some opportunities there. At some point, somebody needs to put that dude in a truck.
Right? Yeah. Something. That the dude is so talented.
He's good.
What I like about it is that he's one of these guys from the West. He's one of the guys from the West, and we haven't seen in a long time where you get a guy from the West Coast that comes over here and really puts it on the Southerners. And this dude does it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly.
Especially in super late models, yeah.
Absolutely. And you would think that with the supers, it because you do have the usual players, you've got so many new ones that have come up here. But Derek Thorne, man, he invades and he does it well. And I think the sky's the limit for this dude. He just needs to hit. And the scary part is he needs to. He's kind of at that age where it needs to happen pretty quick.
He's pretty close to that.
Yeah,
he's still a young guy and he's got lots of experience, but he's to that point now. Hell, if you hadn't got 10 years of racing experience by the time you're 16, hell, you're almost too old for a development program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. Georgia Spring National, Stephen Nasi wins 150 lap super late model race, and he's getting primed up and ready here for the next one. But Stephen Nasi, man to beat in Southern Super Series, got to be.
Until Bubba shows back up with that new car blues.
Yeah, I don't know about that there. I still wondering when they're going to hit on that, because it is very odd to see Bubba. It's been a slump. You dated back. He won the David Rogers, but from the snowball moving forward, just hasn't been there, man. And that is so weird and actually a little painful to watch.
Yeah, well, especially when he just loads it up because the stuff's just not right. down at the World Series, just sits there and pops it up and just says, "Nope, we're done. I'm not messing with this POS anymore."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's done. He is done. I-37 here quickly before Lawrence Miklachek hits the hotline. Late models, Brandon Brzezowski, Ryan McDonald in the tuners, factory stocks, Brandon Gaither, limited modifieds, Marcus Miklachek. There you go. And in the modifieds, your winner, the dude that is just mowing them down. And this is another one that, we got so many young guys like Caden Honeycutt and all of these guys that are so damn good. And Jared Moppin, and I don't know, is it public knowledge? You're about to get, you could get a really good look at Jared Moppin. I don't know if it's public knowledge about your upcoming endeavor.
Oh, you talking about this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think anybody knows. I hadn't told anybody.
Okay, well, anyway. If you get the chance to see Jared Moppin, it's going to be good. That dude's really, really good.
Potentially 3 out of the next 5 weeks, more than likely.
Yeah, there you go. So
I think the only people that know is me, you, and Owen.
That's probably it. So we're probably giving it away right here. But I don't know. You want to tell everybody? Hold on. Here before Lawrence, I'll put you on the spot.
Yes,
there you go.
The breaking news: I'm coming out of announcing retirement. I'll be helping out down there at Edna at Texana Raceway Park for a couple of weeks while they sort out. Owen's got a lot on his plate, so I'm going down and helping out with the announcing while you're over at Cotton Bowl and doing what we can to help out the sport. Gonna fire up the vocal cords and go out and try to. I'm gonna try to get everybody's name right. That's the one thing I'm worried about. I don't know the racers as well in South Texas as I did in Central Texas.
Man,
so hopefully I'll get them all right.
I'll give you a crash course, my man. I'll give you a crash course. They're pretty easy. It's Shiloh Flanagan.
Now her I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
She's part of that Flanagan's Muffler Shop group.
Yeah.
That one I know.
Absolutely. Yeah. John Leta. That's the one that'll throw you off. I know for a while I was John Leta. Nobody told me any different, and finally I asked someone, and they're like, "It's Leta, but he don't mind." I'm like, "Okay, well," but
my apologies in advance to all the people who I'm going to butcher their names on Saturday.
No. We'll set you up. It's pretty easy, and just a great group. And I can tell you, after one night there, you will be saying what I say all the time, and it's the old commercial, Edna. I'm glad I met you because it's a great place.
It's a fun little track.
Dude,
I'm looking forward to calling a couple of races down there coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You know what? It's just like racing a car, which there's a rumor that I'll be racing a car too.
Oh,
amazing! My weekends are taking off here now. When I decide to spend more time with the family, it's when the weekends start blowing up and all of that. But
that's okay.
I'm racing at least one.
You got
race.
family time all year.
I'm racing at least one race in Houston, if not a couple of more than that. But
ain't nothing wrong with that.
I'll be racing at least one race in Houston. My goal is to run well, but not run well enough where I'll be high enough in the points where I want to run the whole season.
So Joyce says, "Party at your room." Edna, I'm glad I met you.
I guess so.
There you go. Yeah, and you're gonna love. I mean, those race fans are just great. I mean, they're so super cool. I love that the lawn seating right there is so nice because that allows you the opportunity. I mean, you get right up and close and personal with those people, and you it's cool. It's cool. I think you're going to seriously enjoy that. It's a great place. That is Texana. They are racing here this Saturday. We'll get you a whole rundown coming up because there are a lot of races this weekend. We're going to the hotline. We talked about with this whole CC Speedway thing, and obviously, we know this guy. Lawrence Miklachek has been, he is still the king of the dirt, but a lot of good years in over at the old Quarter Mile Bull Ring. He's checking in. Lawrence, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good. How are y'all doing?
We're doing well, my friend. We are doing well. First of all, before we get into all of that, L87 Speedway looks like everything going well for you guys. Updates on what you might have coming up and so forth.
Well, we're still just doing the go-karts, and we kind of slow down this time of the year when all the big tracks open. Mm-hmm. Me and Owen will get together and put something out here soon, but it's, most of the weekends are used up.
Yeah.
And I don't like running there. The big car tracks are all running go-karts this time of the year too. So it kind of gives me I can get away from it a little bit, and they still have a place to run, but I don't want to let them sit out too long.
That's right.
Yeah, the go-kart center, I watched some of it on Speed Pass. I was actually thinking about getting myself one of those go-karts and come down and play a little bit of time, but the way that the shows line up, I just don't have enough time to get down there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon to run down there with you guys. But it's a cool setup that you guys have. I mean, people don't think of it as just a backyard racetrack. I mean, you got full-fledged deal. You got lights. You got a podium down there in the infield. You got it going down there to L87.
Yeah, that go-kart deal sometimes you come out there and got to race with half of the guys that used to race at CC Speedway. It gets pretty tough.
Yeah.
I like to sit out and watch. I don't want to tangle with them.
Yeah. Let them have at it. So Lawrence, when I talked to you last night, I mean, we've seen the pictures and everything, CC Speedway. I mean, what? To you, and I mean, you've done it all. I mean, you have done it all, but that place right there, man, just so special to so many of us. Just a great place that hung around for a long time.
Yeah, that I started going there when I was a kid, helping my dad, and then I started racing there the first, I think, about 2.5 or 3 years that I started racing cars. But I got away from there for a while and then came back to it, and we talk about that now. That's some of the most fun times that we had racing back there at CC.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see that deal end, but it looks like it doesn't look good for it. I don't know. I haven't heard 100% sure that they're demolishing it or anything, but the rumor is they are. Y'all may know more about it than I do.
Mm-hmm.
The rumors aren't good from everything that we've heard, but
yeah.
So, Lawrence, what is the appeal about CC Speedway? I got the chance to run there at one time and one time only, and I didn't win the race, but it was the most fun I ever had in a race car. What is the appeal of that place, man?
To me, it's one of them. Asphalt tracks have kind of got a reputation of being it's hard to pass on in one lane, and CC was one of them. And I think San Antonio was. I didn't get to race much at San Antonio, but of all the 4 asphalt tracks, I guess I've been to about 5 of them. But San Antonio and CC Speedway were kind of alike in one way, as they were a lot more racy. Like Kyle, I mean, there's no more fun race track to drive around than Kyle. That nice smooth track and stuff. But racing there was, you could have a car that was quite a bit faster than the guy in front of you, and you gotta, when you move them, it moves them so far that they're mad, And CC, you could kind of rub somebody up a little bit and they might lose one spot, and you just keep on racing, or you may get moved up a spot. And I felt like that was why CC was so much fun.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, Lawrence, I mean, because growing up here in Austin, I would always go to Speedorama. And, the quarter mile was always cool, but I mean, the quarter mile with the high bank, I mean, because you hauled ass down the straightaways and that banking just caught you. You didn't have to stab the brake like you did on that flat track at Austin. Right.
I really enjoyed the CC Speedway deal. When I kind of started racing dirt cars, financial reasons mainly, and I think there was a time that I probably didn't go back there for probably 12 or 15 years. And then I kind of started slowing down on my dirt stuff. And I would always go watch the TIDA races and the Romco races. I always enjoyed going and watching those cars race at CC Speedway. So when I did go back, I always tell everybody then that CC Speedway is like racing bicycles on a sidewalk. You're beside each other and you're elbowing each other, but you try to stay on there. But that's what it always kind of reminded me of. But I like those those high pressure situations, I guess.
Heck yeah, no doubt.
See, Lawrence, the one thing I've never understood is how they ran. I don't ever understand how you guys ran those high-powered super late models with those little tires around that track and put on the best damn races as you could. I remember one time I went down there for a TIDA race, and it was right when you started racing late models back again. I thought they were going to tear down the fence when you were out there, and that was just for qualifying.
When I started there, I raced the hobby cars for a year, and then I jumped right into the late models that they had back then. And then when I went away and I came back and got into that, I think I tried to run a couple of Romco races. I bought a car from Mike Denman, and, I sat there in the stands and thinking, oh, this, I can do this, and I went and bought that car. And, I know Rick Rapp showed up the Friday night before that race. He brought me his radios, and he was going to help me in his leather helmet. but he brought me that stuff, and he come over there he was going to help me on that car. And he sat down there and made a list that was about 3 weeks worth of work.
Oh my God!
To have that car ready for tomorrow night. And I said, Rick, just help me with the basics tonight. But I really, when I went back out there and started racing, it had changed so much. I struggled. It took me, I finally got kind of going a little better after 3 or 4 races. But, you know, those longer races, there's a lot more that goes on than I anticipated from running the dirt stuff for so long. But I really enjoyed the little bit of the Romco deal that I got to do. Yeah.
Everything had changed but the surface. And how, isn't that part of the whole intrigue there? I mean, I remember somebody getting out of their car for introductions and like twisted an ankle. I mean, that was part of the thing right there, man, where that old damn thing was so beat up, but man, it produced good racing.
The last time I raced there, when on the start of the race, there was rocks hitting you in the helmet. And I mean, I was pulling tear off, you know. But that, you know, as a racer, and especially like a dirt racer, all those cracks and bumps and patches of grass and everything, that's, you know, on a dirt track, you use that stuff to your advantage.
Right. Yeah.
You find, if your car is pushing, well, you find that bump that it bounces up and turns, or, you know, you try to take advantage of the environment. And that track, you know, the last time we raced on there was fun. The track was pretty deteriorated, but it was still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
So, Lawrence,
I know. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was going to say, I talked to Dan. I went to that Houston race last year, and I talked to Dan Monroe, and he pretty much told me then that track was sold, and he the guy that was buying it was supposed to, you know, run it, keep it as a racetrack, but he said he didn't think the guy was going to be able to do it. But I know he wanted it to keep going, and he had good intentions for it.
Sure.
Yeah, we're just getting old, and it's that stuff. It's like that go-kart track, man. That's just a miniature racetrack. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, no doubt. No, for sure.
I know we've always thought that people just think it's so simple that they just show up in the back gate, sign a little piece of paper, get a wristband, and get to go to race. They don't realize how much stuff goes into that, whether it's dirt or asphalt racing. So who was one of the best that you got to see run down there?
Do what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So who's one of the best that you got to see run down there? You talked about spending some times in the grandstands. Who was one of the better guys you saw?
Man, I don't know. You know, you're Slick and Rick and the guys that used to wear them out on that track, and then you know, Grimes and hell, John Howe. I didn't know John Howe, but I watched him win 2 of those races at CC Speedway. He put it on them a couple times, and it. You know, I saw Tommy Grofuse pull in there on an open trailer one night and start in the back and finish 3rd or 4th. He ran, you know, those guys I didn't know at the time. Now that they all got to come over to my play area, I've got to know them.
Yeah, that's about right. So Lawrence, so your time there, and we keep popping up a graphic where you're with the Ace Auto Parts number 17 Camaro that actually looks like a Camaro. So you would have been. Let's talk about some of those guys. I mean, would that have been like Jerry Edwards?
Jerry Edwards. Jerry Edwards, about the time I started, he had kind of already started. He went to the dirt, I think, a little bit before all of us, but I watched Jerry race. You know, I had some, you know, honestly, the first year I raced there, I had an old 65 or 66 El Camino that I wrecked, and it was sitting in the backyard. Well, I wanted to build a race car, and I guess I was about 20 years old, and my dad told me that I needed to get all my own tools in my own place, and you know, you got to get your life going before you start messing with them race cars. So him and my mom went down the beach for 3 or 4 days, and me and my buddy stripped that El Camino down, and I ordered one of them Canadian stock car.
The CSC cage.
Roll cage kits, and by the time they got home, well, I threw half of that roll cage kit away and went down to Neil Flanagan's and got muffler tubing. And, you know, he shows back. They come back from the beach from fishing for a couple of days, and I got that thing sitting there, and he never told me to stop. So, but at the same time, that car I had, I mean, he had his late model that he raced for years. I mean, he was he built all his own cars, and he was, I say like, Rick Rapp and Slick, and them guys studied that stuff way more. I mean, nowadays you just buy them and it's already done, but those guys are the ones that figured out how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's car was sitting right there, so I'd go over there and measure his,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and do mine that way. So when I showed up out there, man, I had twice the car as anybody there.
Yeah.
And it was easy at the beginning of the deal, except for Wayne Britton shows up, and he's got Slick and Alan Yates and Steve Lloyd and them in their shop together. So me and Wayne, I won the points the last night, but I think between both of us, I think we won every feature there. Maybe one, or there might have been one or something that somebody else won, but that's kind of my first start of that CC Speedway deal.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
The first night I took that car out there, I was scared to drive it, and I got Billy Hardcastle. He wasn't racing, and I got him in there. And that thing, we got there late, and he jumped in there and started in the back, and that thing was bouncing all over the track. And well, the shocks I put on that were oil shocks, and I didn't know the difference. My dad's shocks were upside down, so I put mine upside down. Well, all the oil, it bled all there was no shock. So, I flipped them over the next week, and went back at it, and
that's crazy.
And got it going pretty good.
Nice.
That was, I guess, the first. I think I started at the end with about 4 or 5 weeks left of one season. Then I started the next season.
Yeah.
Like I said, I showed up there with a nice car and then Wayne Britton and Slick and Steve Lloyd and all those guys showed up, and it kind of made it hard on me,
That's for sure.
So, Lawrence, talk about your relationship with the other drivers at CC Speedway. You talked about knowing them now when they get to come up to L87, but was it the good old boy system like it was at some of these racetracks, or was it as hardcore as some of the stories we hear from Rick Rapp and Terry Labonte about some of that stuff down there?
Well, I watched a lot of the stuff that went on there I was sitting there watching them throw beer cans at Terry and they were dragging him out of there. But it was a pretty rough deal. I mean, that was a man's game there. There wasn't no little kids. There wasn't. I mean, that deal there. I got out there the first time I ran. Pat Flanagan knocked me all around the track, and then he came down there. I finally, before he finished me off, I got the hell out of the way, and then he come over there after the heat race, and he told me that he was faster than me, and he gave me a couple of warning bumps, and the next one I was going to be in the infield, and he said, that's the way we race here, and you can get mad and you can not like it or whatever you want to do, but that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but on the other hand, when you're faster than me, I expect the same thing out of you. And that actually worked pretty good. When I started racing I don't remember when I watched a bunch of it, but it kind of simmered down the years that I raced there.
Yeah.
And then once I left, well, then you had Carlucci's and Heinemann's and all them, Monty Nichols and all them, and hell, you got a double program ticket between the fights and the races. and they're all good friends of mine. They're probably going to cuss me for saying that.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, Lawrence, because the racing and all the shit that was happening there, but a lot of times some of the best show was in the damn stands.
Yeah. Oh, I remember back on the when the pits used to be on the other end of the stands, and somebody get in a wreck on the track. I mean, the whole crowd would be leaning. If that railing ever gave way, it would have killed 400 people. It's just,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I remember it seemed like the last race of the year. It's like everybody that had a problem with somebody settled it that last night, and I remember Frank Ho with that cowboy hat running up and down there must, a couple of hundred people on the front straightaway, and there'd be a fight on one end and then on the other end. And I remember watching Frank, that white cowboy hat, going from one to the other, breaking them up.
Oh my God! How can we let this place close? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, it's maybe some. I don't know who. Do y'all know who ended up buying that racetrack?
It's a towing company. I forget which one it is, but it's pretty sad. I mean, we're popping up some pictures there as you're talking, and it's part of the bleachers are gone, and we've
okay, so they are they're
yeah.
already actually tearing it apart. I've had some people earlier call and see if I want any of the lights or anything out of there, and I really don't, but I mean, I appreciate them, but I didn't. But that was people that assumed that it was going to get torn down. But I guess if they've already started, well, it's pretty much a done deal.
Hell, and I guess I saw something the other day because I was doing some searching, and I guess there was a fire. Near there.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I was like, well, hell, that almost took care of it, I guess.
Well, I don't think that was there, though.
Okay.
I heard about that, and I heard it was a pick-up parts or something place there. I guess.
Yeah, Texas Wrecker is what Shane and Kaminsky and these guys are telling us. So Texas Wrecker.
Yeah.
So Lawrence, you mentioned old Frank there. Talk about some of the folks, obviously, that kept the place going. I mean, because there were so many different promoters there. You mentioned Dan here at the end.
Yeah.
But the hose there, I mean, lots of folks had a lot of time invested in the place.
Yeah, but you're asking a guy that can't remember. Just ask old Jay Hallis, He gives me a hard time all the time. But no, most of it, when I raced there, it was Frank that ran it, and then Sonny Heineman ran it a little bit, but Sonny kind of got a raw deal because that dirt track here, they built that dirt track, and it kind of, made it hard on him.
Yeah.
I didn't go run there when Ricky and them started going back. That there was a guy named, man, I can't remember his name, but at that era I was running on the dirt a bunch, and then there was Jimmy Carlock ran it for a little while.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then Donnie Yoakum ran it, and I guess what's his name there that had it the last?
Yeah, that would have been Dan. That would have been
Monroe.
Dan.
Dan was, I guess. Yeah.
Dan right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was. I hate to see it go. I know we get to sitting around here talking about how much fun we had, all the time, or whenever that comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all may have to just pave L87 so you'll have an asphalt track around here.
Well, that'd be the one to pave because it's a little bit smaller, so wouldn't cost quite as much. But I got to tell you, Lawrence. So I got to tell you, going to all these dirt tracks now. I mean, hell, I'm a dirt head now, man. I love this stuff.
Well, that it is. I've always. I started racing cars on the asphalt, but I raced, there was a time that I raced motocross on Friday night at CC Speedway and then raced cars on Saturday night. And so that dirt and off-road and stuff I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah.
And honestly, when they built Riverside, the tire bill and they paid, I mean, there was just financial reasons to get on the dirt.
Yeah.
And that's but I like both. The asphalt, the asphalt, the competitive part of getting a car to roll around that track better than everybody else is you can go race at these asphalt tracks by yourself and just work and tweak on cars, and that's, to me, is a lot of fun. Dirt, you're kind of guessing at what you think it's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then you can do a little more, I guess, with you get your car set up wrong on a dirt track, and sometimes you can make it, make up a little bit for it.
Right.
With your driving, where the asphalt,
You're stuck. Yeah.
You better get it right.
Yeah, you got what you got.
I mean, to a point. That was another thing about CC Speedway is it was one of them tracks that it had little bumps and nooks and crannies and stuff. And if you got it a little wrong one way or another, you could do more with your driving on that track.
Mm-hmm.
So, San Antonio track, I didn't run there enough on that big track to get really comfortable with it. But
oh hell, you
never, I watched.
Never comfortable at that place.
Well, yeah. A lot of people were.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I watched the video. One of them asphalt guys, I've become pretty good friends with Joe Armendia.
Yeah.
And he showed me a video of him going over that wall at Highway 16, and I'm like, man, you're glad to be alive.
It's a long way down, man. It's a long way down.
He went a long way up before he went a long way down.
Oh, man, absolutely.
Yeah. Who won the first late model race? I'm going to ask y'all a question now. Who won the first late model race at Highway 16?
Would be Terry.
Terry, wasn't it?
Terry would be my guess.
That was Labonte.
Terry was? Terry?
I think it was Terry. I think it was
really?
Terry. But you talk about guys going over the wall there. I mean, you had Slick. Slick went over. I mean, so many. So let's talk about Slick at CC, because I remember Slick. The first dose I got of Slick, he'd run it Friday here at Austin, and then he'd go run over there. And man, he different eras that he was there, from the beginning, and then with TIDA, he had that place down.
I give a lot of credit to Slick for the way I see racing nowadays. Is my dad and Slick had some of the best races. The most competitive, but at the end of the night, they were over there joking and eating and drinking beer. That was racing. Them guys, they work their asses off at the shop, and they come out there and they raced each other with respect and stuff. And then they come over there and tell each other what they were doing and what they did, and come back and do it again the next week. And that's how that's the way I see racing. That's the way I've always liked it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, Lawrence, and this is something, and this actually popped up. This isn't CC Speedway, but you're the perfect one to ask. So our friend Christine Molise posted here. Talk about, because she lives over in McAllen, those Miller Nationals. We used to go. Yeah. Wasn't that like the baddest ass races before there were badass races?
Those races were tough. Those. They would have 150, 160 cars in them, and you go get in a race that's got 100 people trying to get in it, and it gets tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been to a few of those deals, and that McAllen deal
that really stands out for you. I mean, whether it be a moment, just anything in all of your time there, just at that track that you really go back to, and it's like, man, that was great.
Oh, there was there's a lot of little things that went on there that I could, there's a list of, I guess I never won no big paying races or anything like that. But, I think I won a points championship in the second. Well, like I said, I started the end of one year and then ran the full season the next year, and that was with me and Wayne Britton.
Yeah.
I won that point championship, and that was my dad won it. My dad, I think that same year, had won 21 out of 23 features.
Wow.
And he and their, Spick and Rick were running out of town, and they put a bounty on him. I don't remember if it was a bounty, but they were tired of him winning, and they come over there and tried to outrun, and nobody ever outrun him. One of those features, he broke a distributor coming in the middle of 3 and 4, and he ended up finishing second, and that one coasting across the line, and the other one he broke a motor in. But that was probably a highlight for me at CC Speedway. Both of us winning the points championships there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
and Lawrence, one of the cool things about CC when you really go back to it, and we'll cut you loose here just after this, like you had the late models, you had a bomber class. I mean, you had a good structure of classes, back in the day when we could get by with running 3 or 4 classes a night. But man, you had a pit full of cars each and every time.
Right. Well, sometimes I think there's too many classes is why we don't have enough cars in the classes.
Agree.
If you forced everybody to get in one of the 3 classes, you're going to have full fields of classes. Now, I mean, shoot, there's we run into the same thing at the go-kart track. They're always trying to add another class so that because Johnny ain't been racing, or they're just and it's hard to not do it. It's hard to, but I think sometimes you need to go back to the basics and just put everybody, get them all, just less classes and put them all in it. I'm not going to go into it.
Well, no. And I keep saying we're going to cut you loose, but I'm glad you asked that, because I was having this discussion with somebody the other week, and it's like, see, now you've got so many in dirt. You got so many stock car classes. You got ice stocks and street stocks and factory stocks and all this. Are we are we at a point where we're like, okay, we're about to turn into asphalt right here, and the price keeps going up?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong in any of this stuff. But I'll just share my opinion that, like at L87 Speedway, there's always, I get phone calls of somebody wanting to try some new car that it's basically the same thing as the other 3 classes with the same motor, but they want to change something on there and start another class. And it's just continuous. Like I said, I don't have the answer, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just, in my opinion, look at the numbers. If there was 3 classes of cars and there's 100 drivers that want to race, and there's 3 classes, those 3 classes are going to have a bunch of cars in them, where if you got 8 classes and there's 100 drivers, well, you're splitting them up to a bunch of little classes.
Yeah. So, I was the same person asked me, because we were talking about modifieds, and it's like, how do we get more modifieds? I said, get rid of the factory stocks.
Well, when we started running them dirt cars, the dirt late models were the thing to have, and then they're pricey and tire bills, and you had to have a bunch of different compounds of tires, and it started getting hard to afford to do. And then the modified came along and was going to save that deal. Well, now they're as expensive as a late model was back then. These sport mods were going to save it, and look at the price on them nowadays. So, it's just, we do it to ourselves by keep evolving.
Yeah.
I've told people, if you need about 5, the first race car you build, you need to build about 5 cars in about 10 years and never get rid of one of them, because in about 10 years you can go back to the first one and it's going to be legal and you can run it.
That's exactly right. So when are you back on the track? What's next for you? I think I saw you in the bad one the other day.
Nah, I don't know. I one day I'm done and going to quit, and the next day, the competitive part of me won't let go. I need to. I got my grandson kind of. He made his debut in the front straightaway wall at Edna the other night.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's right. I saw that.
We've been straightening that deal out, and then I drove old Skip's modified at I-37 the other night, because I thought, well, I'll try that, and I don't know. I made it worse than it was, but the competitive part of me wants to go win races, but the other part of me don't want to work and do the homework and you got all these young guys that race every week and they're good. I mean, I got in, Marcus has been driving Joe's car and he wins, and then he goes out of town, so Joe gets me to drive it, and I run a struggling 6, and then he gets back in it the next week and wins again. And my car drives different than everybody. I mean, I let Jared Moffitt drive it, and he said, "Man, that car drives different than anything I've been on, but it's fast." and I'm too old to change my driving style, but I keep trying to run these young guys setups, and I need an old guy to help me.
yeah.
Need to call Howard Willis or somebody.
Yeah. There you go. Now that'd be a hell of a team right there. I mean, you guys get together and shit. That'd be scary right there. Hell, y'all need to go to Bristol if that'd be the case. But
that Bristol was fun to watch, but I'm way too old for that.
No. Talk about tire bills and other bills. I mean, that's a lot of money right there. But
that's going to be interesting this weekend. When they go in there again, that was a pretty neat deal. I watched a bunch of it.
What do you think? Do you think those Grand National cars are going to be any good on that track? Bobby and I both are like, that race is going to suck. You think it's going to be any good?
I think if those guys don't just slow down and be patient, there's going to be lots of cautions. I think it's going to get dusty. And how many laps are they running?
250.
See, that track is going to be without water, no way to keep moisture. I mean, we watched it on these 20-lap features, and how many times they had to go in there and redo it. And that 250 laps, they're going to be driving. It's going to be a cloud of dust. In my opinion, I'm no expert, but you got sharp guys. They've taken all that into consideration. That's my hurdle is how are you going to keep that thing from drying out and dusting all up and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm curious to know, if the engineers were smart enough to think about that, and I bet they weren't. So we'll see. We will see. But that's coming up on Sunday. But Lawrence. Thank you for the time, sir. I know it's kind of last minute when I reached out to you last night, but we want to talk to the guys that, with CC going away that made the place, and that you're definitely one of those.
Yeah, that's like I said, there's a lot of guys that spent a lot more years and a lot more time than I did that probably got a lot better stories than I do. I'm just, kind of, that's what I remember about it. And hell, if they open next week, I'd drag some out there and race. It was a lot of fun. I hate to see it gone.
Yeah, definitely not a good thing, but it is what it is. Just kind of one of those things. But Yep. Well, Mr. Mikulacek, we appreciate it, sir, and I'm sure we'll see you here pretty damn quick one of these places.
All right. Yeah, we will. We'll see you.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Well, thank y'all for letting me bore you for a little while.
Anytime, my friend. You just tell me when. Right. Anytime.
All right. We'll
buddy.
Holler at you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There he is, Lawrence Mikulacek. Well, the best of the best right there. And that dude, he's just and he talks about, because he told me last night, he's like, well, I didn't race as long as some of the other guys there, but like he's talking about, hell, he's winning championships right off the bat. His dad was so good there, and it really is one of those situations where, and again, I can go back to Corpus Christi, and I've talked about this in the past, where Corpus Christi to me just doesn't get that love as being a race town. And I said it the other day, where I really had hoped that of all of these tracks, I mean, I'm glad we've got Houston, and it sucks that Austin's closed and San Antonio's closed and not going to reopen. Breaking news. I mean, maybe.
Shocker.
But Corpus is the one that I had really hoped was going to be able to get opened up, because I really do think that would have worked. I mean, because it has that feel of, we see all these tracks on these coastal towns in the Southeast, and I really had hoped, because it's very distinct from the other ones. Austin was a flat quarter mile, but yes, that was gone, but CC was still there, and CC was that bull ring that now, we see Showtime Speedway, and we see all these other places, and Hickory, we see all of these places where, they're destination places. People want to go race there, and the late models race there, and they do all this crazy stuff and have good races. And Corpus was that. And damn it, it's a missed opportunity. Again, it's a missed opportunity.
Well, it's a missed opportunity for the asphalt track, but at the same time, the racing is still good in Corpus Christi when you got Stevie and the gang over there at South Texas Speedway.
Absolutely.
We're not trying to take away anything from South Texas Speedway
and
not
the
stuff
all.
that they're
not
doing down there. But racing is still alive and well. It's just sad when you see an iconic racetrack such as CC Speedway go on the wayside.
And that's kind of what I think the point where I was going with that was where Corpus Christi doesn't get that love and that as a racing destination, because for so long, I mean, just up until a few years ago, I mean, Corpus Christi was able to. We see all these tracks or all these cities in Texas where you've got a good track, but Corpus Christi for so long, they had one of each. I mean, they had, whether it was CC and Riverside or whether it was CC and South Texas in its prior regimes there, Corpus Christi was able to sustain both. And that's where you've just had so much talent that's come out of Corpus Christi in the past, and there's so many that are there now. Obviously, it's going to be on the dirt side where we're going to see the Maupins and Miklicek and all of these kids that are doing so well. But Corpus Christi really needs to be one of those towns where when you think of great racers, you think of Corpus, because there's a shitload of them that have come through there and are still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a whole bunch of good racers. And Lawrence cuts himself short. When you think about CC Speedway racers, you think about Lawrence Miklicek, and you think about some of the stuff he's done. I mean, he's run.
Absolutely.
He's run, like I said, when I watched him down there, a couple of TIDA races and stuff, when he got that car from Mike Dimon, that's another one that was down there that was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Was Mike Dimon.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I saw, I think it was Butch Havelka there that mentioned about Davidson getting a car put back together there in the All-Pro races. I mean, those All-Pro races were there, and that was something I was talking about the other day, where you had the back-to-back. And I mean, think about that now as a racing weekend. I mean, we just saw World of Outlaws going back-to-back, but think about if we could relive that all over again, where you had the All-Pro Super Series. I guess now we could say the Cars Tour. Let's say the Cars Tour came to Texas and they went and ran at CC Speedway on a Friday night and then went and ran at San Antonio Speedway on a Saturday night. Oh my God, can you imagine that? Woo!
Crazy. That
right there, that would be phenomenal. Yes, thank you, Chris. Talking about Whitaker, 6th place at Bristol. That's an achievement. That's an achievement, especially when we saw his car humping another one a couple of nights before.
Yeah, we did. It had to break out the water hose, separate them two cars.
Yeah. But that event there was great, and I'm curious to see. I mean, I know there's a lot of push around that. This is a great weekend, and I hope that the viewer numbers are really good for the race, and I hope that some of the folks that have shied away from NASCAR racing for whatever reason, I mean, I really hope that they zero into this one coming up. I mean, all 3 races, zero in. Truck race is going to be good. I am not doubting that at all. But I hope folks tune into this, and I mean, I hope it's a success. But like you've said, I ain't buying it.
I got to see it first. The trucks, it's like we talked about before we came on the air. You can't take a car that's designed to go 200 miles an hour at Daytona and Talladega and throw it on a dirt track. It's just not designed for that. It's even crazier in this car, but I don't know how in the hell they do it on the next gen car with the independent rear suspension.
No. I mean, you can't take a sports car. I mean, I've a couple of times driven my Toyota Camry down a gravel road and down some bumpy roads, and it doesn't respond very well. Mm-hmm. But I like what Lawrence said there, because you and I have talked about this, not on the air. I mean, maybe we've mentioned it. I don't think we have, not even on the Saturday show, but 250 laps, and you're going to go out there, and these are 3,500-pound cars. You're going to take them out there. You're going to beat this surface up. I mean, I don't care. You've had dirt late models out there. You've had street stocks out there, but they're not traveling at this speed.
No, they're not big, heavy 3,400-pound stock cars.
No, at that rate of speed, all of that, everything the way those cars are going to move, they are going to beat the living shit out of that surface. And I just hope that on I guess Saturday as well, maybe Saturday will be a proving ground. But I hope they're ready, because there's going to be a red flag for track prep, and hopefully they can get it to a spot. Maybe we have a tremendous finish, but I hope folks hang around during that long track prep red flag that we're going to see. I know we're going to see that.
Well, more of a track repair than a track prep. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be the key. What's going to happen is this race is probably going to stink. And there's probably going to be a caution with about 5 laps to go, and it'll probably be one hell of a finish. And everybody will be like, that's the greatest thing ever, bring him back on dirt, when for a majority of that race, it was going to suck.
And it's going to be exactly like what folks complain about the NASCAR races now, where, the last 5 laps are great, but everything else wasn't worth the shit. And I mean, we hate to say it, but yesterday I was optimistic. I was looking forward to this Atlanta race yesterday. Dude, that was horrible. It was neat the way Blaney came and made the pass to win at the end, and I guess Kyle Larson. Why are people surprised that Kyle Larson is this good driving those cars?
Well, I think it's because Hendrick's on an upswing. I don't think the Hendrick cars now, this is the same team that Jimmy Johnson had that showed so much potential. But now you throw a guy in like Kyle Larson in there who's got the talent. Now he's got the resource behind him. And Hendrick is up their game. Obviously, they found the stuff that were Stewart-Haas and some of the Penske cars have lost on these 1.5 mile tracks. They've definitely found a way to be really strong and really competitive. I'm like you. I had Kyle Larson penciled in to win that thing because there were times in the day he was winning by 4 and 5 seconds.
Yeah,
10 seconds at one point, just was smoking their ass.
Yeah,
and I really did. I had him pegged to win that one. But then, luckily, I did watch about the last 30 laps or so pretty intently and saw where Blaney had come up and passed him with 10 to go.
Came up and did it. Gary Key's checking in, and he is absolutely right. CC Speedway was originally dirt. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was probably, 1949, I guess is when that...
49 sounds about right. 48, 49.
So can you imagine that? I mean, because I always said that, like, the configuration of Kyle would have been a perfect dirt track. Imagine Kyle dirt. I mean, as fast as that front stretch was, I mean, I can see late models and sprint cars just humming down that thing. But imagine CC Speed. Well, I mean, you don't have to imagine. It's Waco. I mean, high-banked oval track right there, but just great times there. And like Lawrence talked about when he raced and when he mentioned Monty Nichols and I threw him Jerry Edwards and the Flanagans. And, I mean, all of these folks that did – so many good things there. And what CC Speedway does, and we want more, want to have a segment where we can talk to I want to talk to Butch on this show because Butch was amazing in a damn dwarf car there. Need to get him on there, but just for Butch, it's more the memories that he saw going there. I mean, because he went there all his life. I mean, he could probably talk hours and hours about. Butch can talk hours and hours anyway, but he could talk hours and hours.
Get him watered up a little bit, and he'll be going on for a while.
Get him some of that jungle juice, and we'll really get him going. But yes, more of that to come. More of that to come because, yes, Lawrence. Kyle is definitely dirt now. Flat. Very flat.
Yeah, no bank in the corners.
Flat with gravel. But going to get more of those CC guys on here and get them talking. 105 Speedway ran this weekend as well. Pure Stock, Donald Kane Jr., Limited Modifieds, Ryan Harris. In the Sportsman's, G.B. Carter. Street Stocks, Justin Collins. Texas Mod Lights, Willie Veach. And in the Factory Stocks, so this was on Saturday, in the Factory Stocks on Saturday, Dalton Faulkner.
Shocker.
God. I tell you, man, these factories, I guess he was your Friday night winner there at CBS, but just that these factories are a joy to watch. They look really, really good, and I love to see them zip around there. But like we were talking to Lawrence there, I just fear that we're at a point where we're going the way of asphalt. We're going the way of asphalt. Hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong.
It sounded like a sport mod race. Listening to Owen make the call on Friday night, and from what I could see, just some of the names running, it sounded like a sport mod race there for a little bit with all the former sport mod drivers pulling double duty.
Well, I mean that's what I was saying to Lawrence when I was talking about how do you get the modifieds back. I mean, look at that. I mean, but it makes sense. I mean, because you seriously can. It was $1,000 to win modified race at Waco on Saturday, and you had. What do we have? 16. There were 16, best count that I've seen all year when it comes to mods. But, I mean, when you go run, I think there's a race coming up in May here in Texas where factory stock, $5,000 to win. I mean, hell.
King of the Hill pays 10.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I mean, I totally see why guys are doing it. But the bad part is guys come in and they bring that sport mod and IMCA modified technology with them and or whatever it is, money, they throw that in the factory stock, and that's where it gets tough for guys that want to get out there and have fun. I mean, it pretty much eliminates their opportunity to win, and that's and again, I mean, that's where we get into that area like we've seen with asphalt, to where it the money drives it. It always has, but that's rough. I don't know. I'm so on the fence with that.
Yeah, well, it happens. I mean, that's the cycle of racing, and it really, I think they could find a way to change some more of the rules with the factory stocks. But the problem is it was the right class at the right time for Arclitex.
Sure.
And it went from there, and it blew up when Arclitect started paying those big money factory stock races, $5,000-$10,000 to win, like especially like the one at Boot Hill that they have now. It totally changed the dynamic of dirt track racing. It changed the direction of it because guys could find. It's no different than when guys move down from another class. We've seen it with the dwarf cars. This is what killed the dwarf car, the stuff when it was back to bone stock or a sportsman type of dwarf car. To where, when you come in and you're used to spending, a couple of $1,000s on a set of shocks, and now you can get, shocks, high-end shocks for, $750 a shock. Hell, that's a good deal. Let's go ahead and run those. Why don't we go ahead and run those versus the $75, $100 shocks that everybody's been running forever.
Yeah, it's like you bring everything that you've learned. I mean, it's what killed the super stock class. I mean, the folks that the street stock, super stock, whatever you want to call it. I mean, when you really want to go back and zero that in, why do we not have a stock class? It's like, well, because people wanted to run, you wanted to run aftermarket body. And I mean, I know, yes, now aftermarket bodies, aftermarket suspension, all of that, it's so much easier to get. You can't go to Palaces and get pull A-arms and, trailing arms and tie rods. You can't do that the way you used to do. I know that. It's much easier to do, but it's the other stuff that came with it, being like you're saying, shocks right there, and at one-time motors. But it's gotten to the point where obviously the suspension stuff is going to be what's going to make you better. I mean, the key is to get around the track the fastest. And when folks started realizing, yes, let's start spending all the money in the suspension, have a good motor, that's when it all went to hell. And that seriously is what killed that class. And when folks ask me, let's get a stock class going again for asphalt, and I'm like, factory stocks would be great. What are the factory stocks doing? We're in the same situation. I mean, if I go drag out my whatever stock car that I had, 5-10 years ago, like Lawrence was talking about, it's not going to compete with those factory stocks. Not even close.
Well, I mean, it's cut up enough to be one of those outlaw street stocks.
It would be better for that. I mean, it would be better for that. And I really think on the asphalt side, I think the outlaws are really the one. And again, for a long time, I had a problem with the outlaws because it's like,
well, half of those bodies don't look stock appearing anyway.
But I like that because that kind of does take me back to the 80s when you had the radical, late model sportsman bodies. I mean, you go back and look at some of the old pictures from Austin, and I mean, they look just like this. But that guy, I don't know. I keep waiting for that one to get its footing. I don't know. Here we lack tracks. I guess that's why it doesn't get its footing. But it's doing well everywhere else, it seems like.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Mobile under lights?
I liked it. It looked good.
To anyone that really questions the validity of what Gina's doing, if the lights are on, that's a good sign.
And it looks fast. I mean, it looks like it's a hell of a fast joint.
Yeah, looks really fast.
San Antonio would better pave it.
And no walls. That was always, when folks with San Antonio, it's like, yeah, that place was great till you wad one up. There was not a good place to hit the wall anywhere there. Anywhere.
No, there wasn't. I mean, just some of the pictures and stuff that were shown by Gina, which, by the way, don't forget, there is a practice session happening at Mobile this weekend. For those that might be listening there in the Gulf Coast region, there is a practice there this weekend. Also, another practice after Easter weekend coming up on April the 10th. To recap the dates for Mobile, since Rodney brought it up, the racing at Mobile, the Gulf Coast Racing Series ends up being May 1st will be a race day. June the 5th is a race day. June the 26th is going to be a fun race because that's going to be the Southern Super Series return to Mobile International Speedway. And then the final race of the Summer Shootout Series, what we're unofficially calling it, would be July 10th for race day there at Mobile. So that would be one of those to where classes are still to be determined. I think that's going to get shaping out a lot over the next practice sessions the next couple of weeks. I believe it's going to be set up with the cars that bring the most cars. The classes that bring the most cars, rather, will probably be the classes that end up racing. And so that will be a way, if you want your class to race at Mobile, call Gina and show up for the practice sessions and stuff like that and go from there. So it'll be a good race. Check out the Facebook page. I think we actually shared it too on our Facebook page, but you can go and check out the Mobile International Speedway Facebook page to see the pictures with the lights turned on, because that place looked pretty badass and pretty fast. And as we keep rolling on with the show, trying to get a hold of Bobby McCarty, your winner at the Cars Tour this past weekend, photo finish there with the stock cars, so to speak. It's just, if you get a chance,
they had two of them. There were two of them.
Two of them. Yeah, wins over Tyler Matthews, Sam Butler, Dean McCaskill, and Daniel Severti. I'm probably butchering that one.
Yeah, they you had back-to-back ones there, and even the super race was really, really good as well, where you had Matt Craig was in cruise control, it looked like, and Kvapil kind of sneaks up there and gets him at the end of the race there. So again, Cars Tour selling out, and it was funny as we were kind of having these discussions about Corpus, where you look at Hickory and it's like, okay, and I mean seriously, to me, I love when I see Hickory, and even watching Atlanta yesterday, where you see those tracks and they're so beat up. I mean, you see the tar snakes and everything that's in there, and I'm like, to me, that gives a racetrack some balls right there. That when I see that, I'm thinking, now that's a racetrack. That's a track that you'd like to run.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely when you see those old school racetracks sit there and kind of run, and that's what made it so great. Larry Mack brought out his cheese grater, which is the way that those tires eat up those tires get eaten up by the racetrack. But it was Atlanta was fun and disappointing at the same time.
Yeah. No, it was. It actually just got a message from Bobby McCarthy. Work. Damn, work. These people work.
I know, right? What is that?
It's got to work late. Do another night. That's okay. We can absolutely do that. So I'll message him back. So we'll work that out. What are you talking about? Oh, cheese graters. Yeah, at Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know, but Hickory, to me, I mean, to watch those cars and Shane checking in there, I know that they were there. I know that he and Mark were there with Caden, and Caden's a guy where he's still working there with Jason Stanley. He was talking about Jason Stanley on here last week when he was on. I think that once those guys get it figured out, when those guys get that figured out. And this is, I think, because I was talking. Who do we have on the other day? Oh, it was Caden. I was talking to him last week. I think the difference there, he's used to being in that damn super, and when you go to the pro,
the power to weight ratio is totally different.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to think about that, because I can only imagine when Caden gets in that car and he thumps the gas, he's got to be thinking, when is it going to take off? When is it going? So that's a tough transition for him. And you know, he's on the dirt a lot. So again, that late model stock car, it has to be for him like, okay, this is, I'm in molasses. This thing doesn't go. It just doesn't respond. But I tell you, when he and Jason Stanley and Justin Johnson, when they get that thing figured out for him, it's balls to the wall. They're in trouble.
Yeah, once he gets his footing in it and figures out exactly how to work it, it'll be really fun to watch Caden do the stuff he's going to do. Like Shane said, looks like Caden will be running Friday night there at Heart of Texas in his late model, or not? Yeah, the for the DFW late model, so that should be fun. Yeah,
and I'd like to say, Bobby McCarty messaged me at 6:16. He gave me plenty of notice, so that's good. That's good. I can appreciate that very, very much. But yeah, so with the Cars Tour, fantastic finish, and with the end of that race, and I want to talk to him. It's the main reason I want to get him on. They confiscated his engine. Did you see that?
They did.
They took his motor. They took his motor, and they took somebody else's as well. But
second place, I think.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a second place car. It wasn't a second place car. But they took his motor. I never know. I never heard any result of any of that. But that's what do you think of that? Because I remember back in the day, one of the things with the stock engines, when stock appearing pistons and all of this stuff, where it was, is anybody ever going to drop an oil pan? Is anybody, for tech, is anybody actually going to claim an engine? Is anybody, all of these questions that would never, you used to have to put the plug on there so you could inspect rods and do all of this stuff. But for the Cars Tour, that's a NASCAR type of move right there. You go and you seize the motor.
Yeah, well, they seized two of them. I'm pulling it up right now to see if we can remember who they got.
Yeah,
but
I had it somewhere. I got it written down here. My old school stuff here. Let's see, who did they take? Motor pulled by McCarthy. I don't know. I don't know who it was.
I still think it was first and second.
Maybe it was. But that was a great weekend of racing right there. When you saw, I mean, both of those races were photo finish. I mean, Don Halford working there in the scoring department. Our man, Mr. Don. I bet he had his hands full right there. But again, that electronic scoring, that makes it kind of nice. But just fantastic finishes right there at Hickory to see that. By the way, Jared, I think, was 11th, Jared Fryer. So we'll see how Jared rebounds from that one. He had a good race the first night out, but struggled a little bit in that one, it looked like. So it defending champion there. So for him to be able to come back, that's a loaded field right there with those late model stocks, and with McCarthy. I mean, he's a 2-time champion there. He's a man to beat. Lane Riggs. I mean, that's fantastic racing, and that's. I mean, you've got to catch Cars Tour races because you will not be disappointed. That's your equivalent of a really good dirt track traveling series right there.
The 81 machine was Sam Butler.
That's who
was the one that actually got it taken. Says this is due to due diligence to our teams and competitors is one of the reasons we have some of the closest racing and finishes. And that's
great. I mean, that's totally great. And I saw a lot of folks posting there that why are you pulling, why are you going to take his motor? I mean, it wasn't a dominating win or anything like that, but I mean that's where I really think it's important because like when you finish in the top 3 or 5, whatever the tech thing is,
third.
He was third.
81 was third.
You never know what's going to be teched, but I think right there that's a move right there by the Cars Tour where that happens, and that is where you keep that competition level. I mean that right there, because you know that something could happen. And I mean, from what I saw and heard of that race, if I was going to seize an engine, I'd have taken Lane Riggs because he kind of took off out of the box. But that's really a way. And I mean, I know it's a pain in the ass for the teams. It's not something that you want to do. I mean, tech is part of this whole thing here. But I can truly tell you, for them to do that really hammers home the point that we are all about level competition, and we're not going to put up with anything. So you've got to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I think that it adds to a level of respect of the series when they come through and try to make it their way to want to have the best competition. Like you said, both races were really good, but they, I mean, it was 0.2 of a second or 0.02 of a second actually, 0.25. Not 2.5. 0.25 was the finish in the late model stock. So they that was some pretty damn close racing. That's what you call a photo finish. Thank goodness for the transponders on that deal.
Well, and Don just checks in. Don, I don't know if you heard, but our man, we didn't think Bobby had a real job. We thought he was a race car driver for life, but he's got to work things, so we're going to reschedule with him. But Don says video backup. Who'd have thunk it? I wonder how many races at CC Speedway back in the day would have benefited from having a video backup.
Well, I remember one time when they used to do the videos at the top of turn number 1.
Yeah, video by Donna.
I
videos
remember,
by Donna.
Like when it wrecked, you'd see people running downstairs to sit there and watch because she would rewind the tape and do the replay.
Yeah.
And so she's one of the ones that did the Texas Stock Car Spectacular, the original one.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Vicky Askew would do them over here at Longhorn, and she'd sell them, to us the next week, and you'd sit there and study them. I remember there were times where she'd get worked up, or if they had to go out on the track and like the camera would just go boop, like if our camera just kind of fell forward. I guess it has in the past. What's happened to it? Or the backdrop?
The banner's fallen once. I think the camera's only fallen forward one time.
Yeah, the banners have fallen in the past. Those bitches are screwed in now, though, by the way. They're not going anywhere. Sure as hell one's going to fall. But, yeah, I can. I remember those videos by Donna, and you can actually find those are on YouTube. A lot of those are on YouTube. That Stock Car Spectacular's on there, and so many of them. But, yeah, if they'd have had that timing and scoring that we have now, one thing that I'd like to know about CC Speedway, back to that, do you remember the last time we announced there? It would have been TSRS.
TSRS race, yeah.
I wonder who went and got that amp and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That shit was new back in 2009.
I wonder who got it. It's probably been gone for a long time.
But I can tell you, for racetracks, any amp in 2009, that's modern day for a lot of these racetracks. And again, this is something that Owen and I were talking about. Yeah, the Flying Carlucci, that video right there, that is one to see. And I think there's some, I think there's a good Larry Smith flip. And I think when somebody went over the wall, maybe the Flying Car, maybe that's the one in turn 1. And something else, and I meant to ask Lawrence about this, and he alluded to it when the pits were on the other side. That's the thing what folks don't realize about CC Speedway is, I got stolen. Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Where the hell was Anthony? I thought he was always on guard over there. But
man,
damn it, Anthony! But
that's probably the reason that they didn't come through. If you Google search on YouTube Corpus Christi Speedway, the Flying Carlucci video is the third one down.
The third one down. That's
and the Stock Car Spectacular is number 4.
Damn. Yeah, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. But I remember. Because it was. And the other thing that he mentioned there is that they motocross there. And I totally had forgotten that because they would do motocross in there. And the pits, they did. They flipped back and forth. I remember we went down for an all-pro race, and then we went down, I think it was the next season. This would have been in the mid-'80s. We went down the next season, and everything had totally flipped around. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what the hell here? And that place, I mean, there were so many different versions of that place. It is unbelievable, what all we saw there with just fantastic CC Speedway.
No, there's a lot of great racing in every class that was down there. They did a lot of great racing and ended up having lots of cool stuff. And they, I remember when the little 4-cylinder class. I can't remember what it was actually called back in the day. It was the local equivalent of a pro sedan because the guys would run it and then end up going from there to run pro sedans and start touring. But I remember the Papa Green, I think was the guy's name, had the little spindle top on the top of the. It wasn't a Gremlin, but it was some kind of foreign car. I can't remember. It looked like a Pinto, but it was not a Pinto. I can't think of which one it is. But
yeah. No, there were so many. I mean, just great, great race cars out there, and the names. I mean, so many great names that ran there, and we gotta get Greg Carlucci Jr. on here because I think that would be some great discussion right there.
Yeah, definitely. Remember when it's good enough when you got your own catchphrase? You got looched. Remember that from back in the day?
Oh yeah, man, that was one of those things. I remember the first time that I went down for that spectacular thing that you're talking about. I mean, I go down there for that, and I'm thinking, man, what the hell are we getting into here? And then the next thing I know, I'm out there racing, talking about Larry Smith. I'm out there racing with those guys, and I'm like, whoa.
That's close. It's Pappy Green, not Papa Green.
Okay.
Close enough.
Yeah.
For the memory that I've got.
Yeah. No, that was just good times there, and it really is.
If you just full screen the other one, it probably worked.
Yeah, I know. It probably
okay.
Would. I don't want to. Anyway, hold on here. We're working on the fly here to get you something really cool. Oh, no, that doesn't actually work because I can't get back to this other. But yeah, so. Here's what we're talking about, and a little rough, but so this is some of the old video there from CC Speedway. So, I mean, look at that. I mean, who in the hell wouldn't like if this track were still around now? I mean, it was all. I always thought it was so cool. I tell you, one of the funny story for me is I almost hit the wall on my first lap at CC Speedway and see some of actually what we're talking about right there. Look how the video's kind of shaky.
Yeah, that was great.
Video's kind of shaky, but we one of the time that I went there to run that stock car spectacular. Oh, look at that! Boom! Right into the wall. Oh yeah.
Whoopsie. Yeah.
Yeah. One of those things right there. But I go to CC Speedway. Here it is. There it is. Right there. It's on. It's on.
Is that the Flying Carlucci one that we're watching?
I believe so. There it is.
Yep,
right there.
It is.
Up and over the top. Right over the top, and you're watching it just like it happened last week. Damn. CC Speedway. One of the best. Man, we were going to miss that place. But I remember I go into turn 1. I go into turn number 1, and I look up, because you remember that place, it had the walls, and you would hit the banking. They had like advertising banners up in the turns. I look up and they had an advertisement there for the Palace over on Leopard Street, strip joint.
Oh, the gentleman's establishment.
Yeah, which I had been there before, and it caught my eye, and I look at it, and they had this very provocative looking person there, like, and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot to turn, and luckily the old Nova made the turn. That would have been a CC Speedway story to tell right there. Wiped out my car on the first lap ever that I tried the track. How did it happen? I was looking at the sign of the Palace up there on top. That'd have sucked.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I got something, but this is a G-rated show.
And look here, they're still going at it. Imagine what the grandstands looked like at that time.
I bet they were fighting in the grandstands over
God. That's tremendous. That is tremendous. We just let that thing go right there because, the wreck happened as we're watching this. Pit lizards. As the wreck happened, 5-7 minutes ago, and look at all the action out there.
Still there. Was that Nova? Is that a Nova there on the front stretch? That number 28?
Yeah, probably so. That'd have been fun to call right there. That'd have been fun to call. There it is, the Flying Carlucci. And you relive it right here on the Revved Up Sports Show as we honor CC Speedway. Lawrence Miklicek with us tonight, and we'll have more of these. I don't remember if this is done. I want to click this off, but I'm not sure. I think it's probably done. But man, how do you beat that? I don't know. Maybe it's not done. This is what you call live video and live radio right here.
That's right. It's called
Phil. See, this is what this show is all about. I've talked to several different...
It's a 6-minute video.
I've talked to several different people that tell me what I like about that show is I can just sit around and drink a beer and watch YouTube scumbags and then listen to the great discussion and all of this stuff, and it's totally on the fly. I'm like, yeah, it's totally unscripted. I mean, we may have notes of what we want to talk about and race results and all of this, but that's about as good as it gets. And I got to tell you, this right here is one of our best. It's still not done. Now they're fighting over in the turn. He's arguing with the crowd.
It literally is a 6-minute video, so.
Man, I don't know how far we are into this one.
And there's somebody clapping and cheering on the one that I'm on, but I'm about 5 minutes ahead on yours. So.
Man, this is crazy.
So we got 2,600 views. I figured it'd have way more than that.
Well, we'll get you more. Well, so you know how it is, Bobby. Some of these folks may find this disgusting. Some people may watch this and say, that's why I hate racing, because of stuff like that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Good stuff. We'll pull you more of those videos up and try to get you some stuff as we get folks on. And this is like pro wrestling right here. This guy's getting the crowd all worked up. I wonder who that is. Probably somebody watching. Somebody's going to pop up. Oh, that was me.
That was when I was talking about when I was a couple of minutes ahead of you over there.
Yeah, Gary Keys probably knows who it is. He'll tell us. But there it is, the Flying Carlucci, and you saw it right here. That's fun stuff. We'll get you more of that entertaining stuff as we continue to honor CC Speedway here in the days that come. Bobby McCarthy, we will get him re-upped in here. Poor guy, he actually had to go to work. Doesn't that suck? I guess you really can't blame the guy for trying to make a living. But those Cars Tour races were really, really good yesterday as they got after it. And when you have photo finishes and when you have those long races like that, and it comes down to the last lap and they finish them off like that just tells you the how great that series is, because they really are. I mean, they're hitting a home run, and I think folks are really starting to realize how good that tour is.
Yeah.
And it's about damn time.
And McCarty's part of the Touring 12, too, by the way. I forgot that car went up in the fence on lap 1.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Who's that? Is that Joey in the 71?
Hold on.
Let me go back to it. Hold on. Let me see. If we try to go on the fly here.
Yeah. Oh, is that the Spectacular?
Yeah, the Spectacular. I recognize the first couple of rows. Like there's Brandon's driving David Sevilla.
Yeah, he was in the 40. Yeah, those are super stocks. Yeah, 71 was Heinemann. Yeah, because I remember that race. You had a good mix of, you had San Antonio late models, and then you had their super stocks over there, and then you had Austin super stocks, and Corpus. Their super stocks, they could do the aftermarket bodies. They look more like late models.
There's
Raymond Lund there in that 36. That was one of the
Tommy Temple in the 19.
Oh yeah, no, Tommy Temple raced with us.
Did Tommy run with y'all?
Tommy ran with us. Oh, no, that 74 right there is Bill Rose out of San Antonio. He was a super street stock. But Tommy Temple ran with us. He was in a big number 99. That'll be our video next week. We'll give you video highlights of that one. Tommy ran with us. He won his heat race, and he was well on his way to winning the main event in ours, and the hobbies is what we were called. And we were the San Antonio Chargers, the Austin Street Stocks, and their what were they? I think they were hobby stocks also. And Temple led most of that race. Something happened. He got turned around, and he hit the wall in turn number 1 and damn near knocked the wall down. So, yeah, we'll relive that one. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Next week, we'll have somebody on, and we'll go back and run those highlights from that race from CC Speedway 1995.
The audio is horrible because it's a video that's, from 25 years ago.
Yeah, no, and see, that's
Larry Smith.
That's Larry Smith.
That's Bruce Beddoes' old number 15.
Larry Smith ran that race, and he won ours. He pulled an old Camaro out of the weeds.
That's Bruce.
That was Bruce's car. Yeah,
they built that in like a weekend.
They built it in a week. He came out, tore the whole damn side off of it, and lapped the field.
Yeah,
he put us all damn near 1 lap down. I passed him on a restart. Coming out of turn 4. Started on the outside. I passed him. We drag raced down the straightaway, and he went right by me.
Because there's Carlucci running David Cook's old car.
Yep. That's a good one. That's next week's.
How the hell do we remember this?
Next week's treasure is the 1995 Texas Stock Car Spectacular. We go back and relive a bunch of that. But good stuff from Lawrence tonight. There was some other stuff. What was I going to talk about? Oh, racing coming up this week. So you've got Friday night. You've got Waco, and you got RPM. RPM is back at it once again, and still just I am super impressed by both of those tracks and Pensacola. That they do these Friday night shows, and we see the trucks or the tracks struggle for Saturday night classes, and we see these Friday night tracks doing extremely well. But 105 in Heart of Texas on Friday night, and then coming up on Saturday, you've got obviously Texana. 105 is back. They've been back a couple of weeks, and then you got Cotton Bowl Speedway. So you are locked and loaded, and you've got Houston coming up on April 3rd. So, man, we're going. It's race time.
Yeah, it's definitely time to go racing if you pick a track and start supporting it, because it's time now. The Texas is open. That means our short track should be rocking and rolling with a lot of people in the grandstand. So it should be.
I'll be real honest with you. I don't think that. I know that the racetracks couldn't race for a while, but after they started again, I don't think they were ever very closed.
No, that's true. Once they did open back up, it was.
Dude, I was telling you guys on Saturday for the Horn Show, and again, Revved Up ATX, 11 a.m. on the Horn radio streaming, hornfm.com and the Horn app. I go to Waco on Friday to do my work there, and I stop at a convenience store to get some cash, and I go rolling in there, and I went in a mask. Because I'm used to what I'm used to doing, and
yeah.
I mean, and quite frankly, I want to wear a mask. I mean, I just think it's something I probably should be doing, because I'm around a lot of people in different facets, and so I go rolling into a convenience store there, not far from Heart of Texas. I won't say which one, but I'm like, people are looking at me like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" One guy looked right at me, cowboy. Guy looked right at me and laughed.
Nice.
Yeah, looked right at me and gave a laugh, and I was like, "What?" He said,
No, not today.
That's what he said. Just not quite in that accent, but I was like, "Sorry, sir."
You find the craziest. You get involved in some of the craziest stuff.
I know. I know. It's horrible. It's like, okay, it's all good. I mean, weird shit happens. It probably happened to me, but that's okay.
You have that crazy luck. I don't know. Gary Keys has another trivia question. We brought up the number 99. Who had the original number 99 back in the 50s and the 60s? I have no idea.
Oh my goodness. Not Shorty Rollins, was it? I don't know what number Shorty Rollins was, who was actually raced there at CC Speedway and was the first NASCAR Grand National Rookie of the Year. If that's right, Gary, I'm just shooting off the cuff at the first number that I could think of. I know Rick Rapp was 99 way down the road. I know there was John Foster that ran late models for a long time around Texas.
Foster was Was he 90 or 99?
He's 99. He's 99, maybe a 98 at one time, but I don't know about the 99. We'll have to wait for the answer right there and see who that was. Hopefully that'll pop up here for a second. We're getting Freddie Barnick as a guest, so let's see if that is. Heineman's checking it. We got to get Heineman back on. Now that's some stories right there. That is some stories. So what I need you CC guys to do is message either Bobby or I on Facebook or on this page right here. Shoot us over a message and let us know if you want to come on, because that's really what I want to do. And I'm going to reach back out to Slick again and want to get him back on so we can just talk about CC. He had some really good stuff on our interview that we had with him, but at some point get him back in because he probably doesn't know what's going on.
Imagine that. Lawrence was right.
There it is. That must be why they joke around and say that Lawrence is the senior citizen.
Yeah. I mean, if he knew,
I thought he said he had a memory problem.
I know. How does
what the hell?
How does he remember that out of the
Lawrence,
blue? Come on, man.
Come on, Lawrence. I like how when he was telling that story about, I was sitting in the stands and I said, I can do this. I was going to ask him, how many Miller Lights did that take? That's a whole backside of that story right there. Where there's always that. Every time that I decide to race, there's Bud Lights or Natty Lights or whatever involved, and then the next day I'm like, So I tell you my story the other day. So I was ready to race again, and then I was out at Texana, the opening night at Texana, and one of those mod lights like rolled 12 times. I told the crowd I was thinking about racing again, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think you did tell me that.
It's like, yikes, that's scary. But good program coming up. You are gonna love. Seriously, dude. You will. I mean, I know you've been there. I know you were there for the Clash, but when you grab the mic, there, you're really gonna like it. I mean, because the racing is just good, and that crowd crowd again, you get. They get tied into you, and they'll draw in, and they start communicating with you, and that's good.
Hopefully they communicate maybe in a positive manner.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I had a guy, speaking of communicating, the other day when we were talking to Marcus, or were you not, or was that when I was doing it by myself? That was the one I did by myself. That's when I was
waiting in line to get into
you
the
were
bar.
You were in New Orleans. So when I was talking to Marcus, we were talking about Shannon Duloc and some of the Waco fans and how passionate they are. So Duloc ran a good race the other day, and they're booing him and all this other. He didn't win, but so I'm walking up the crowd, and this older gentleman at the very top row grabs me by the arm, and he stops me and he says, "Boy," I'm like, "Oh shit!" And he said, "Boy, next time Duloc wins, can I have the microphone?" I said, "Yes, sir." Yes, sir. So passionate. And
there are some passionate people there.
Well, but that's what CC Speedway was. And I mean, even when we talk about Austin, you think about all the old times there. I mean, some of the best action was in the damn grandstands, whether it be people falling through them or fights.
There was great people watching back at Longhorn.
I know. I remember I was one of the nights at South Texas. I was hanging out with Butch was like, we get done with our race. He's like, come on up here, and we were hanging out. We were hanging out with the outlaw racing team. Obviously they show up and they're bringing cold beer up there. And, one guy, one of those crazy son of a guns, or the Carlucci bunch, just like falls through the bleachers, and we're like, holy shit! And I kind of look down there. I'm like, dude, are you all right? He's like, I'm just taking a shortcut to the beer stand, to the Turn 5 bar. I'm like, wow, Corpus Christi Racing. And just wait, this is just night one. This is night number one. We'll do it again next week. We'll get you somebody on here. We'll check in with Bobby McCarty again. Hopefully we can get him next week. We'll get him back in line. But I think it's going to be a good conversation with him. I want more information. I want to know with the engine thing. I mean,
he might have it back by the next time he comes on.
Well, I'm sure he will. But I mean, like Shane was saying, I mean, I know that the late model stock races are some of the best in the country, and I really think that are the reason that is because that's one series where, when we say late model stock, they are. I mean, for the most part, they are stock, and they're having to work these cars, and they're trying to manipulate these cars to do things that they shouldn't be doing. Like when we talked about the old, OEM unibody street stocks and all that, no weight jacks and all that. You're trying to get a chassis, you're trying to get a car to do something that it's not intended to do, and I think that really. What the late model stock class does is it really takes this and puts it back in the driver's hands, and that's really what some of these classes are lacking. When we talk about some of the younger kids that jump in, and it's instantly dollars buys the speed and cubic horsepower and all the different things that we talk about. The late model stock really affords to the guy that can take a stock setup, a stock situation, figure it out, key it into where it's going to work best for them, like Lawrence was saying, and go out there and just drive it and wheel it, and that's that's kind of unheard of in some of these other genres of racing.
Yeah, no, it totally is. I mean, it's just the way that it's been shaken out, and I tell you, man, it's sad to see CC Speedway go.
No, that sucks, man. That sucks.
I mean, it became one of those inevitable things. Like when a racetrack sits for so long, that the longer a racetrack sits idle, the less and less chance it has a chance of coming back to be a racetrack. So.
Yeah, and it's sad, and I mean, I know folks are holding out hope of San Antonio, and we've talked about it on here so many different times. I mean, it would take an individual that was that had a good financial structure that could.
It's cheaper to build a new San Antonio Speedway than to rebuild the old San Antonio.
Absolutely, and Nick Holt has put it so eloquently many times on Lone Star Speed Zone, LoneStarSpeedZone.com, one of our great friends and partners, that to do that, if you're going to take that on, you better be prepared to, one, you're going to have a hell of a battle with the city, just with all of the logistics of that. But you're going to take that on, you better be prepared to lose your ass for a long time. Eventually, at some point, you're going to be able to make some capital out of it. But just in the getting it back to where it needs to be, and all the hurdles, and there's so much that has to happen. It's I'd love to see it come back. And I got to say, I mean, if you really look at it, I saw some of the pictures from when they did the Dale Jr. download that was out there, and it's in better shape than a lot of places I've seen.
Yeah.
It's in a hell of a lot better shape than one place that I just recently seen. But it would take some work. I mean, it's possible.
It's still there.
It's possible. Yeah,
it's the only racetrack that's still there. But
you got a foundation. I mean, to build anything, you have to have a foundation. Real estate term. But it's there. But it's probably not going to happen.
I'm sure it's for sale. The land has always been for sale. Just don't tell them you want to turn it into a racetrack when you talk about buying it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, and one of the things that I read, that it may. Maybe somebody passed away, so somebody can tell us or email us at revvedupsports@gmail.com. Probably not the thing to talk about here on an open forum, but I think it's in some sort of what do you call it?
It's not escrow. Probate.
When somebody passes away.
Yeah, probate.
One of those situations. So that may be the key. So I don't know. I'm not holding out hope, but I mean it's still there. But honestly, guys, when we talk about Texas racing, we've got Houston firing up on April the 3rd. And, I mean, go. You've got one. You've got one. Go support it, because that's a given. You've got that one. We can what if and ifs, ands, or buts and shits and butts and all of this and until the cows come home. But state. Thank you, Christine. But we should know that, but we do know that we have one. We do know that we have one. And the aforementioned super stocks, I mean, dig those things out of the weeds, man. Go out there, and if you're going to run 10th, that's great. It'd be great to run 10th, because there haven't been 10
cars, yeah.
Yeah, there haven't been 10. But go out there and get this thing going, man, because this is our last stab at it. Unless somebody buys San Antonio or builds something new. Thank you, Wes. People are listening.
Yeah,
and
there's still people listening.
And people are probably like, how could you not get that word right? I've worked those. Those are tough. But the opportunity's there. Maybe so, but CC Speedway, more to come in the weeks to come. We'll get some more memories thrown up there, and get some folks that actually went out, that raced the place and did some cool stuff there. That's really what it's all about. I think that's how we pay homage to it. We talked to Owen Pittman the other day, and obviously he ran that place for a little while himself. And there's something that he had mentioned that we won't talk about it here, but if he's able to get this put together, I think it'd be a really cool thing to do as well. So maybe something moving forward, looking there, if we can get weekends all put together and all that. But great program. Thank you, Lawrence McLechek, for checking in. Bobby McCarty, thank you for being on top of things and letting me know that there was going to be a problem, and bad on me for not checking sooner.
Well, you did have a show going on right in the middle where it started. So.
Yeah, that's true. Did have to do that. But we're back on Saturday. You can check us out on the Horn, as we will be there at 11 o'clock. We'll talk some NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA drag racing. Do you think it's time to pave Atlanta?
Nope.
I don't either. So what happened yesterday? I mean, because with this package, Here's where people trickle off. But with this package that we've seen great mile-and-a-half racing, and Atlanta has produced, it made sense because we've seen this package do really, really good stuff at mile-and-a-halfs the last year and a half. And we saw really good mile-and-a-half racing at Atlanta when the mile-and-a-half racing was shitty everywhere else. What happened yesterday?
I think it was just ass whooping by. Well, I think part of it too. The last time they ran Atlanta, it was hot as hell.
That's true.
It was in the summertime. This is the first time they ran a spring race at Atlanta in a hot minute, and so I think with the new package, as much as everybody thought Atlanta was going to be out of the question, I do think they better enjoy their 2 Cup races, because I think the second race in Nashville, they're going to take that race. They're going to take one of them races from Atlanta and move it to the fairgrounds.
Tire testing tomorrow at the Super Speedway.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool, and I'm glad that Nashville Super Speedway race is getting some excitement. I mean, I'll ask you this before we go, and this is something else that we talked about in the past. So I saw Penske did a press thing today, where he was talking about the IndyCar series and how where is he a year into this, and obviously it's been tough with everything, a little thing called a pandemic.
Just a little bit.
Penske says. And we've talked about this. Penske says it would be really cool to see a NASCAR street race somewhere. Nashville. I mean, he didn't say Nashville, but
they already got the street race in Nashville with the IndyCars.
With the IndyCars, boom, there it is, right there. So, I mean, conceivably, could you
Vegas on the Strip? That'd be bad.
Oh man, downtown Austin? No, we've got a street race coming up in Austin. Don't need any more traffic problems in Austin because we're back to normal.
It's getting there.
I'm surprised you got here so fast today.
Called the Expressway.
Ah, nice.
Toll tag.
That's good. That's good stuff right there. Toll tag. Really great concept right there. But great program. Thank you to all of you for checking in. And again, Nick Stoop that we were talking about at the first part of the program, go search him on Facebook and check out, what he did at Bristol this weekend. I mean, and congratulations to Whitaker for a great run there, and all of our guys. I mean, I saw Cody won a race, and a lot of our guys, did really well and got that opportunity to shine. But what Nick Stoop did, went down there, ran his street stock down there. He lived the dream that so many of us wish that we could do. And he did it. He did it on a small man's budget, and he probably got done. He's probably going to go to work tomorrow and just resume his regular job, like Bobby McCarty. He's going to go to work, but he can say, I raced at Bristol. I didn't win. I may have gotten lapped, but I raced at Bristol. Have you?
Yeah. And keep your ass out of elephant cages.
What?
You didn't see that? You didn't see about that one?
No.
Some dude in the San Diego Zoo took him and his 2-year-old daughter inside an elephant exhibit. Inside, broke through a couple of the gates and went through the fence, and all of a sudden the elephant got pissed off and started chasing him, and he dropped his 2-year-old daughter on the way out trying to save his own ass. So the child endangerment and some other stuff. Hopefully the people don't get all upset and want to kill the elephant, saying it's too mean or whatever, shouldn't have been in captivity. But yeah, some dumbass hopped the fence in San Diego. I'll show it to you on YouTube.
Guys, come on.
So that's the PSA for today. Keep your ass out of the elephant cages.
In here on a downer. CC Speedway's closing plus. Come on, people. I mean, you know better than that. I mean, oh my God, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, that sucks. Come on, people. You're better than that. Fast time, Romco fast time at CC Speedway, says Joey Heineman. I don't know. I think at one point Slick Yeoman's was 13 point something. Slick had it in the mid 90s.
Jay Watson may have it now.
I don't know.
That's still somebody else we got to talk to.
Yeah, we have to. I was talking to him for a while, then he put me on ignore. We didn't insult him on here, did we?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so. Maybe Umshide did.
Maybe.
I don't know. But, I don't know what that time was. Now we're going to hang around here until we get that fast time. Because I know Slick had it. I think Slick had set that in a 1996 race. But, of course, this was TIDA. It was that final race of 1996. Slick set a fast time, 13 point. Oh my God, I can't remember what it was.
It's like a 13.4.
I would say 13.4 or 5. Because I remember, you know who we need to get? We need to get Russ Martin on here.
That'd be fun.
Now that right there would tell some stories. Chris Davidson. Okay, we're going to wait right here. We're going to wait right here and find out who it was. We'll sign you off until maybe Heineman's wanting us to tell them. I don't know. We might have to tell you next week if nobody else knows. So we'll stall here just for a couple of other seconds. But so coming up, we said the Saturday show, we're back next Monday. We'll do some more CC Speedway stuff. We'll have more race recaps. We'll recap all of those races as we talked about. Friday night, Waco and RPM. Saturday, Cotton Bowl, Texana, 105. All of these tracks. We'll get you wrapped up on everything that is going on this weekend, because there's lots of it. There is lots of it, and Pavement is coming up on the horizon, as well as we'll get after it on April the 3rd with the Gulf Coast Short Track Racing Series. Don't think we're going to find out the time. You know what's going to happen as soon as we sign off.
We'll get the notification. Yeah. Somebody else commented on your video.
Yeah, we'll put that up if we figure it out. But thank you, Lawrence. Appreciate it, man. And all of you for being a part of the program tonight. We're back at it again next Monday. You never know. You may get a show in between. Just keep watching the socials and something could pop up. RevvedUpSportsShow.com, RevvedUpSportsShow.tv, RealRaceTalk.com, RevvedUpRadio.com, and, of course, right here on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter at RevvedUpATX. My man, have a great rest of the week, buddy.
I'm going to try. It's rough getting back in the saddle after being gone for a week, but who knows? Monday went good so far, so hopefully good rest of the week.
All good. You all be good. Be nice to someone. You never know what they're going through. You're going to feel better as well afterwards. Bobby, I'm Rodney. Peace out. Be good.